So I did something that I swore I wasn't going to do for a very long time. I bought a new ship. Well, technically, I melted down my constellation Phoenix in order to do it. Yes, just as the title gave away, I got a shiny new Origin Jumpworks 400i, and I'm going to show it off and tell you exactly what I think about it in this video. Hello fellow citizens, it's Orbital Jeffo, and I'm happy to be back in Star Citizen 3.15, still in PTU as of this recording. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to all those who've given my tiny channel a little bump recently. The biggest reward for making videos is the sense of community it brings, and it means a lot to me. If you're new today, please consider booping the like button, and of course leave me your thoughts and feedback in the comments below. Supposedly, the new 400i is intended to be a competitor to the Constellation, but that's not really the impression that I got while I was flying it. To be honest, I was never very wild about the Constellation, which is why I melted down my Phoenix in order to make this purchase. My thoughts on the Constellation would be a great topic for another video, so I don't really want to get into it here, though that might be hard considering I'd have to buy it back now. But to sum it up simply, without comparing specs because it's obviously a smaller ship, the 400i is everything I'd wished the 600i would be. First off, let me give you a little rundown of the 400i. This ship accommodates and sleeps a crew of 3 in Origin's signature luxury style, and unlike the current iteration of the 600, wastes no space. It comes off the factory line with a respectable arsenal of weapons and remote turret positions, and it accommodates an array of medium components, which are easily accessible on its stylish technical deck. Believe me, I wasn't crazy about the pointed design at first, but I did begin to appreciate it the more I flew it, to the point where I'm pretty much on board with it now. It's clear they were going for the same pointed look as with the 890 Jump, and at first glance you might think that that's all wasted space, but they did make use of the narrow forward section by putting a small vehicle bay in it. Now this bay is especially designed for the Origin X1. Whether it'll accommodate other bikes is still yet to be seen. As for other ground vehicles, it's just really not designed for it. You might be able to get a buggy into the cargo elevator, but as far as ground vehicles go, it's proprietarily designed to hold the X1. Tapping the controls for the ramp drop down the entry stairs leading directly into the main airlock. You can also board via the rear cargo hold elevator if you're not in the mood to take the stairs, but keep in mind that the forward bike bay does not connect to the passenger compartments. Upon entering the airlock, you'll notice that this model actually includes a docking collar, something the 600i does not. Not only will this be useful for station access, but it's so much easier to enter and exit this way during spacewalks. One small change I'd like to see to the airlock is for the automatic door sensor to be turned off for the inner door. An inner airlock door that opens itself is just not a good idea. Now, at the opposite end of the airlock is the gravity generator and its own sealed compartment, which you can look through to the bike bay. The airlock also contains 3 EVA suit compartments, one for each of the crew, and a weapons locker that's decently sized. The ship is comprised of only 2 decks. Once clear of the airlock, you'll find yourself in the aptly named technical deck. Servicing main components on this level will be easy, as each is contained on either side in their own climate-controlled and, I assume, fire-protective rooms. Once aboard, you'll also notice that the 400i is one of the first ships to begin implementing door locks for individual compartments. It's a basic implementation at this time, but appears to be functional and is a first glimpse of any sort of access control mechanic on board our ship. At the opposite end of the technical deck, you'll find the 42 SCU cargo bay, elevator, and 4 escape pods, one extra as a redundancy, or for a guest passenger, I assume. There are also a couple additional component compartments in here. The 400i is also the first ship that I've seen to begin implementing a controllable lighting system. You have 3 options for the room that you're currently in: all lights bright, dimmed floor lights only, and off. We'll see more of these later. The last two components of the technical deck are its single passenger elevator, which leads up to the habitation deck, and a manual access ladder in case the power is out or two people need to be ascending or descending at one time. There's a proper division between the technical level and the habitation level on this ship, and there's never a need to enter a space that you don't belong in just to get to another, which is something that bothered me about the Constellation. At one end of the habitation level is the flight deck featuring one pilot and two engineering or remote turret seats. At the opposite end is the common living area, which features a small kitchen and dinette section, and a rotund briefing area with a holo map in the center, much like on the 600i or the Carrack. I often enjoy walking to this part to look out in almost all directions, although the windows are a little high. The living quarters are modest yet comfortable. Neither of the cabins have an ensuite. All three crew members share a combo bathroom with retractable toilet, sealed closet space, and the traditional Origin rainfall shower in the center. The crew quarters are on the starboard side and feature two bunks with storage and two full-size closets. Across the hall on the port side is the captain's quarters, which feature the same amenities as the crew, with the addition of a desk and computer terminal. Both sleeping quarters include an elevated window, which will be useful, especially for bringing in natural light. Being on the 400i reminds me of being on a small yacht. There's just something warm and homey in the way that the 400i is laid out. Now, I know the technical performance of the 400i is still being adjusted, and it might suit us best to do another dive into the nitty-gritty in the future, but I found it to be incredibly responsive, and the thrusters do seem to be appropriately sized. I've read some folks say that they thought it was sluggish, but I didn't find that to be the case. This may just depend on what you're used to flying, so your mileage may vary. The cockpit has working buttons and displays, and there are several options that I'm still not familiar with yet. And while I still haven't found myself in ship-to-ship combat in it, it seems to be a well-armed ship with two gimbaled laser weapons, several remote turrets, and several missile racks. One of the benefits to the 600i was its shield durability and ability to punch back when attacked, so I hope the same applies here too. If I had any suggestions for improving the 400i, one would be to open up the forward cockpit windshield just a little bit for a wider view. Some folks say the 42 SCU cargo hold is too small, but for a ship that's supposed to be a three-person explorer, in my opinion, that seems reasonable to me. I know this ship was marketed as an alternative to the Constellation, but I don't really think the comparison does it justice. Like I said before, I wasn't wild about the Constellation, though the design had a few creative things, such as the elevator that self-seals as an airlock. I thought there were some awkward design choices in it. Instead, this ship fills a gap for me more around where the 600i fits in my fleet. As much as I love the 600i's durability and exterior look, it was left with a ton of unused sterile space inside that felt like they just didn't know what to do with it. This was unlike the 890J, which has impeccable space utilization. The only reason I didn't melt down my 600 is because I'm interested in seeing what they do for the second pass that I keep hearing about. All in all, I would feel quite comfortable actually making this my everyday ship. It makes so much more sense for one person to be piloting this rather than a 600i or even larger Carrack, and it has so much more versatility, spaciousness, and range than the one-bed 100i series. As to whether you should buy the ship for yourself or not, it entirely depends on what type of pilot you are and what you're looking to get out of it. And if you're hung up on the pointy front end, my recommendation is to reserve your final judgment until you've at least rented or flown it when you're able to. I'm not ashamed to say that this ship has won me over, and I consider it a success. There's definitely a place for it in the verse. Again, thank you so much for watching, it means a lot. I hope you'll join me again for a future Star Citizen video, and I hope I get to see you out there in the verse. Please leave me your thoughts down below, and if you're interested in other space games, please check out some more on my channel. Until next time, I'm Orbital Jeffo, fly safe out there, and of course, be kind to one another. Bye now.